Hi guys, my name is Abdurrahman Gilal, and in this video I'll be explaining about arrays and array lists. I have already made a video on arrays, so therefore I will be focusing more on array lists in this video. But I will definitely be giving you a brief explanation if you're listening it for the first time, then what is array and what is the difference between array and array lists. So the first of all, we have to understand that usually in the programming languages, when we have to store some values, so what we do is that we simply use the primitive data types such as x, and we give values, and then these values are stored, and these values are sometimes unary, which means that we have one value at one time. But in order to store more than one value for the same thing, we have to use a way by which we can work on, some other techniques. So I would say like it's better to use some arrays. So array will help us to store the same stuff, but you can store more than one values at a one time. So let's say here, I'm gonna say that I'm gonna store integer of 5. So now my x variable will have 5 boxes stored into the memory for the same, type such as integer. So this is my x. So usually the addresses of the x or these elements of the x will be treated with the indexes. So indexes always start from 0, 1, 2 and 3, 4. That's how it looks like. But there are some flaws of using arrays. So once you declare the array, it's not allowing you to do, any reduction to the size or the extension to the size. You cannot do that anymore. Once you have 5 element declared, so you have to work on the 5 elements. If you wanted to change the values, it's possible. For example, if there's a value like 5, you wanted to change this, so you have to call the address, the index of this, and then you can put the value, so it will replace the value to 20. It looks fine, but you cannot add another element. Let's say you wanted to add another element that's a 5 index, and then you put here 20. No, that's not going to happen. So in this type of situation, what is a good option for us? That's why we have to learn the array list. So array works on primitive data types, which is always integer, float, double, and etc. But because array lists are not directly, coming from the language, so that's why they implement the concept of array. So that's what I'm gonna say, like they are wrapping it. So wrapping the properties of array. So anything that happens to be in the array, ArrayList can help you. So basically array is implementing the interface that is called list interface. So there are some other types of implementation over the list. There are, for example, linked lists. So this is we are discussing just a list for today's class. So let me quickly go back to the coding. Okay, so let's say this is what like I told you that if in order to create an array, so we usually like do this way that I have 4 elements or 5 elements. Let's make it 4. Yeah, so it's one of the ways to declare, and there is another way that you can do like this, that you directly insert the values. So whatever values you are trying to put, this will automatically be considered, right? So I say the 11, let's say 22, 33, 44. These are my values. So basically that's a size now initialized. So this is called initialization, and this is called declaration, right? Okay, so now how we gonna overcome the problem that we just encounter here, that we cannot change the size? So basically, as I told you, that we have to work on Arraylist. So there you go. So now we are going to, sorry about that. No. So in order to work on array list, you should do simply write array list, a computer, capital. So it will automatically import a library that's called array list. So you just have to tell that what type of data are you basically going to store. So in Java programming language, array or array list, both of them are homogeneous data types. So you cannot anticipate that they can store everything. So in other languages such as PHP, so you have array, so you can store any type of data to it. But here in this array or array list, you have to declare the type. So here, if you try to insert like array like this, so it's not gonna work. Why? Because You cannot directly work on the primitive data types that we discussed. So what we have to do is that we use the integer. That is a wrapper class on the integer. So it's basically going to be the same, but now it's allowing us to work with the list interfaces with this way. Right. So like what is the name? Now I'm going to say like I'm going to work on array list. So this is my array list name of my variable. So now I'm going to say okay, array list. So this is the same thing that we just did the declaration. So as we declared up there, so the both of them are same. So now if I wanted to initialize, so what we do is that we simply say add a list. That's good enough. And the same wrapper class of integer. So I'm gonna wrapper integer, and I'm gonna say this is my add a list too. And here I have to do like the same thing that I'm now gonna put the, I am gonna call arrays dot as list. So here you have to call this class that is array, and then you have to call this method that is array as list, and then you put here the same thing that you wanted to put there. So it's both of them are going to be the same, but here you can do more over this because you now can add it and interact with this how to say element. So let's say, for example, if you wanted to print out like what is the output. So let's say you wanted to print out the array list that you just store the values. So just run it and see we got the values. Can we do the same way with the arrays that I wanted to print out the array 2? So let's run it and see. So no, it prints out me the address of a memory that this array has. Basically, this is a pointer. So that's not going to help. So this one, as I told you, this is wrapping the list, wrapping the, or sorry, it is implementing the interface list. So basically, it automatically set up the toString method for us. So it decently, prints out everything that is there in the element. So this is one of the things. So now let's say you wanted to add an element. So what you usually do is that you simply go there and you say that you wanted to add the value, such as, for example, you wanted to add 55. So it's possible here, but not possible there. Sorry about that. And then you wanted to see like if really prints it out or not. So let's see. So yes, it does. It adds the element. And if you wanted to remove the element, let's say you have to call a method called remove method. And here you can put a value or you can put an index. So let's say if you wanted to put an index, let's say I'm going to delete this 33. So the 33 index is now start from 0. Sorry, this is the updated one, 0, 1, and 2. So I have to pass the index 2 here. So it is automatically going to delete this one without taking our efforts too much. And you're going to see like in the third one, we have 33 is deleted. That's perfectly fine. And yes, so can we delete in here in arrays? No, we cannot. That's a problem. So if I wanted to see the size of, my size of my array, so what happens here? Usually you call the, you know, array2 dot length as a field. So you bring out this field, which is basically available. So it is going to tell you, but here you don't print out that way. So here you call a method. That method is called the size of array list. So let's say what you say, like you put the name of the array list and then you say size. There you go. So it basically tells you the size. So both of them will be returning us the size. So this is going to return us like you're gonna see like here we have size of array. My array is 4, and the size of array list is also 4. So it's gonna, but this is a method. It's not the pretty straightforward field. So you know the difference between field and method, right? So, and if you wanted to do a bit more with Arraylist, so you still can do, for instance, that you have like if you wanted to change the value, for instance, that 55, you wanted to make it 66, then how you do with this, with Arraylist, oh, sorry, with Array, it's pretty straightforward. That what you do is that you call the name of the array and you put the address. For example, we know that this value called 44, we wanted to change that index is 0, 1, 2, 3. 3 is the index. And then I'm going to change the value that is 55. So now I'm going to see like the value 8 indexed 3 now is gonna be like this. So pretty straightforward, but here you do not directly do that because we are wrapping. Once again, you should understand that you have to now call a method. So Arraylist dot set. Sorry about that. So you call the set method, and here you tell the index number. So for instance, this is 55, 0, 1, 2, 3. So 3 is my index. And then what is the value that I wanted to pass? I wanted to pass 66 as my value. So it's gonna basically just change the value, whatever value is there with at index 3 will be changed. So let's run it and see. Okay, so we wanted to print out the value has been updated at indexed 3 of my array list. Sorry about that. Yep. Okay, so let's see. Array list. And then if you wanted to, you wanted to take the values, so you also do not directly take the value like in index here. You just put the index array index. Here you have to use a method, and then you put past the index number. So here you set and the get, as we have discussed in our previous videos, that setter and getter. So it's gonna help you the same way. Let's run it. So yes, so previously our value was 55, now it is 66, and here the same thing. Now if you wanted to print the overall array, so you're gonna see like, sorry, our array list. So you just simply print it out and see like if it's gonna change. Yes, the array list has been changed. So in order to change the value in array, you directly access the index and you assign the value. But here you pass the you use the method called set method, and you pass the index and pass the value. So this method will help you to change the value. And in order to access the variable element of the array list, you still have to use the get method. I hope it makes some sense. So there are so many other things because that's just a Java collection, you know. If you wanted to work on array list too much, so you have so many things available. If you wanted to say remove an element, if you wanted to, you know, clear the array, or you wanted to mate it. So if you wanted to use like get first element, and you wanted to do like if the array is empty, array list is empty or what, so you can do more with array lists. Therefore, like it depends, like when exactly do you want to use the array list or arrays. So I would say like if you are, if you are working on a dynamic kind of stuff, so it's always a good approach to work on you know analyst. Why? Because they're gonna allow you to add or remove during runtime, and then you can basically do more with analyst. But if you think that you do not have to change your values, or sorry, change your array size, or you have specific kind of situation that you have limited number of elements, and you wanted to directly access to the indexes, the better you use the arrays. So it depends. So whatever it's good for you. But generally, programmers prefer to use Arraylist these days. I hope it's going to be useful or informative for you. Please do not hesitate to drop me a comment if you have any confusion. Take care, please.